This is Rob. The first thing you're looking at are the design sketches that I do before I start the painting. I do several in order to explore possibilities of where the painting could go. I don't just settle on the first thing that I come up with because it's really important. Exploration is incredibly important to find out what the possibilities are to any piece of artwork. So now we're going to talk about my process. What I like to do is put as little character in the beginning to the marks that I make. Now that may sound counterintuitive, but what I'm trying to do is focus on the design. The design is paramount. The design is like the plot. A lot of times I've gone out and painted, and I've come back with something that was accurate to what I was looking at, but it was boring. And that in a way is like recording great dialogue, but not having any motivation and not having any plot to your characters. So I'm using the line tool right now because it has the least amount of character. So it forces me to think about things like proportion, these tree limbs, the thick to thin, the variety of marks, the variety of thicknesses that I'm putting down, so that the design itself is not monotonous. So once I've got that going, then I can work on maybe adding a little bit of character. So I take just a typical brush that's got some noise to it, and I start working on some softer edges as the tree fits into the ground. This gives me a little bit of contrast as I'm setting up the simplicity of the design. Now I'm going to start adding a few of the background trees and bushes, and I'm going to explore two different techniques in terms of this tutorial, just as a way to give you choices. The first of which is I use a brush that has a little bit of scattering turned on, and that gives you kind of a noisy, torn edge. That's one way to go about making a shape. And you can see that I've got a very simple line drawing down first to sort of guide where all this is going. And then I just erase out a very clean bottom edge to this. The next thing I'm going to do is paint another set of bushes and trees in the background, but using a different workflow. I'm taking a very hard-edged brush and making my shapes, designing my shapes, and then I'm going to race into it with a square brush set to scatter in order to get that sort of tattered edge. Both of these methods work. Neither is wrong or right. I'm just presenting to you different workflow ideas so that you can pick and choose what works best for your paintings. I think you can paint anything in the world with a single brush. You use it to block in everything, and if you need some noise, you set it to scatter to get that sort of visual complexity to it. Most of my paintings are done this way. Very simple workflow. What I'm going to work on next is just establishing a little bit of ground texture where this grass is going to be in our ground plane. I'm using the most basic Photoshop grass brush. I want to introduce the texture right away into the painting so that I don't add it later and it doesn't have anything to relate to. And I'm looking for a couple things. I'm looking for something to reinforce the ground plane, and I'm looking for some patterns that sort of give us the sense of a plane receding away from us. So again, nothing fancy here, just introducing a little bit of patterning to reinforce the perspective of the ground plane and introducing a little bit of texture to start to establish that. After that, I think I need some delicate tree branches on these two larger trees in the middle of the composition. And trees grow and taper thick to thin, and I want to try to get this effect the easiest way possible. So what I do is I rotate the screen. And by doing that, I can kind of use the natural rhythm of my hand, and I don't have to sort of fight the angle. I can allow gravity when I'm drawing to sort of automatically taper those tree branches as I'm drawing them. And by rotating the canvas, this gives me an easy way to do it. That way the tree branches themselves look very naturalistic and I can kind of get a very simple, natural taper to them as I draw them. I'm using just a simple square brush with the thick to thin set to it. Nothing fancy. Most of my tool sets are the most basic, the simplest that I can come up with, because again, I want to focus on the design and the drawing rather than technique. I want content over technique. That's part of why I work graphically, is so that I can focus on the bigger things, the most important things first, because that really is what image making is about. So now that those are working, and I've got my tones blocked in, I'm going to start adding a little bit of color. Now, I've already established my color scheme, and for the sake of the tutorial, I'm just going to block things in quickly. But when I'm actually painting, I will go back and forth a lot. I will do a lot of sort of tweaking and adjusting once I have every element blocked in, because that's where the realism comes from. The realism doesn't come from knowing which colors look believable. The realism comes from the relationships of these colors. And so by blocking the entire painting in first in very flat, simple blocks of color, I can judge the readability, the value relationships, the color relationships. Is it working? Is there depth to it? Do I have the right notes in it? So all the layers that I'm painting on are the layers that I've spent time designing, and I've got the pixels locked, and right now I'm just coloring them in. I shouldn't say just coloring them in. I'm being very careful about my choices to get the realism in this scene to work. And on the last piece, I think I just marquee selected just because it's a big area. So now you can see that the painting is starting to shape up. I'm starting to get the color notes in the right place. The sky being the brightest, the ground plane being the second brightest, and then the upright planes and vertical planes after that. So once I have very flat poster versions of those tones, I can do my more subtle adjustments. Now there's a path that runs through this image that I'm blocking in now, and I'm using just that sort of simple painterly brush, and I'm focusing on getting it to recede. I'm focusing on making it stay on the ground plane. So it does two things. As a device, it reinforces the perspective of the scene, it sits on the ground plane, and it leads our eye into the image visually. Now once I have all that blocked in, then I can start with subtle adjustments within those color values that I've established. So I want to knock back some of that general debris, those sticks, those twigs, those leaves. I want to sort of knock that back and bring forward the darker tree trunks into the image. The next thing I'm going to do is add a little noise to this grass. And all I've done is taken a very simple grass brush and set it to color dynamics so that I get some color variation when I'm painting in this, which gives a lot of implied busyness and a lot of implied depth and character and complexity to the image. I'm doing the exact same thing with the path now. Just color pick the color of the path and then change the brush size as it goes farther away from us. Adding a little bit of background noise and color to the distant bushes to get them to recede and just to have some variety to them. Now this one area that I just indicated, it needs a lighter set of branches in front of it. So what I'm doing is I'm drawing it on a separate layer, and I'm doing the thing where I use gravity, so I'm drawing it upside down that allows the thick to thin to, for me, work better so that I can do this quickly and easily, and it's got a nice organic feel to it. And then I'm going to rotate it into the scene and actually adjust the color of it. But again, I'm working on the design. To me, design is paramount. I want the design to work first. So I spend time drawing this, making it as interesting as I can, almost making it its own little piece of artwork. And then once that works, I can rotate it, flip it into its position, I can tweak it, I can transform it, and then I can adjust its color to fit into the scene much better. And I'm recording this at real time because I want you to see how much time and how carefully I draw some of these branches. I think part of the problem with sped up tutorials is you're missing the fact that the artist is actually taking time to do these kinds of things. So now to get this to look more complex, I simply duplicate and transform that same piece of artwork in order to get it to have a more sophisticated look to it without having to do a lot more work. Then I take my scatter eraser and randomly erase part of it so it doesn't look quite so copied. And then I do a transform, rotate it, drag it over to where I want it, resize it, fit it in there, adjust the scale. And, obviously I don't want to keep it black, so what I do is I do a hue saturation and pick colorize, and then I can sit there and dial in the color that I eventually want for it. Now I'm doing a few adjustments, adding a few more twigs, a few more leaves, putting some more debris on the background right in here to give the receding ground plane more depth and more distance to it. Adding a few more green leaves, a few more noisy bits, the kind of stuff that starts to flesh out the scene and make it look more believable. The same thing with the ground, adding a bit more modeling, a bit more detail to it. No fancy brushes too. Now, what the scene needs right now is some midground bushes. So what I've done is I've taken paths and made circles and then selected them, turn them into a selection, and then I take a new layer, set it to overlay, and then I just do some simple light and dark with my favorite square scatter brush to bring out the modeling of these midground bushes, to give the same dimension. Right now the scene is a little bit flat, and I need this sort of midground bushes to add dimension and depth to the scene. So all I'm doing is treating them as spheres. I'm looking for the light side. And I've got the brush set to color dynamics too, so I have some color variation to it. And then I'm looking for the sort of shadow side of these bushes. I'm treating them as very geometric objects, and they kind of are that in a way if we can overlook the fact that they're made up of millions of leaves. They are volume that occupies space. So now I turn down the opacity and sort of get them to sit into the distance. They'll come back on later in a minute. So there's all those midground bushes. And now I need to, the next thing I want to do is to increase the sense of perspective in the ground plane. I want to improve it. So what I do is I marquee select it and then I copy, merge, and paste it onto its own layer. Now what I'm going to do now is transform it using the transform tools. The effect I'm after is to increase its sense of perspective, to increase its feeling of depth. And depth we perceive as a diminishing of texture, as depth cues moving towards a vanishing point. And so what I'm doing is I'm taking my existing painting and increasing, exaggerating that effect so that the depth of the entire piece is increased and that feeling of space inside the painting is increased. It's a pretty simple idea, but incredibly important. Here I am switching it on and off so you can see how that it was working. Now to add the last little bits of detail. I'm going to do a very subtle, very small ground plane in the very, very distant, very thin line of grass that I'm going to then erase so that it sits behind that trunk. I'm going to work on little bits of texture. I'm going to move down the base of that one clump of trees in the foreground. I'm going to adjust the thickness of the trunk and the tree in the background. a little bit more noise on the path, a little bit more noise on the grassy areas. I want a dimension to the grass itself, so I'm looking for darker edges between the grass and the dirt, adding a few more twigs and branches to give the painting a sense of scale. And then finally some levels and color adjustment. Darkening up, adding contrast to the foreground, adding some haze and distance, sort of increasing the saturation and lightness on the path, adding some haze and distance to the background trees to push them back a little bit farther. A few more adjustments, a few bit more drawing details to sort of orchestrate the very ending of the picture. Another transform on the ground plane to bring the perspective forward. And then just little bits of drawing here and there, looking for some dimension on that one midground tree trunk, looking for some light, which brings out some modeling and form on that foreground clump of trees and bushes. A little bit of sort of a lightening overall in the background area. And then just kind of a hot spot in the center to focus our attention. And that is about it.